Breaking news, after 10 years at the club and 18 trophies won, Kevin De Bruyne will be leaving Manchester City. It's official, he's announced it himself and he's wrote an open letter to Man City fans. He says, "Dear Manchester, seeing this, you probably realise where this is heading. So I'll get straight to it and let you all know that these will be my final months as a Man City player. Nothing about this is easy to write, but as football players, we all know this day eventually comes. That day is here. And you deserve it to hear from me first. Football led me to all of you and to this city. Chasing my dream, not knowing this period will change my life. This city, this club, these people gave me everything. I had no choice but to give everything back. And guess what? We won everything. Whether we like it or not, it's time to say goodbye. Suri, Rome, Mason, Michelle and I are beyond grateful for what this place has meant to our family. Manchester will forever be on our kids' passports. And more importantly, in each of our hearts. This will always be our home. We cannot thank the city, club, staff, teammates, friends, and family enough for this 10-year ride. Every story comes to an end, but this has definitely been the best chapter. Let's enjoy these last moments together. Much love, KDB." And yeah, this has been brewing for a bit. You know, people speculated a little bit since last season already. A couple of reports have been floating online whether KDB was going to stay at Man City or what his next step was going to be. And he is leaving Manchester City. And, you know, judging off what can be read online, his next step is either going to be to Saudi or he's going to be in the MLS. And it's interesting that the MLS has come into the fold because obviously the next the next World Cup will be stateside, Canada, US and Mexico, and the Club World Cup will be in the US this summer as well. So it remains to be seen what club he's going to join. There was talks of Seattle Sounders, I read somewhere. There was talks of, was it Portland Timbers or was it Seattle? I think it was Seattle. And if I'm not wrong, they're in the Club World Cup. So, you know, this could be a good opportunity. And obviously the US, they're trying to take advantage of the whole fact that the Club World Cup's going to be there this summer. The World Cup's going to be there next summer, like I said, and they want to market this stuff to the fullest. So any superstar that they can get at the end of their contract at a European club or any European superstar, they're going to try and sign. So I think this is a great idea. I think for their game, this is a great opportunity to try and market the game over there as much as possible and try and make it bigger than it already is now. So obviously you guys know the game is growing and growing stateside. So yeah, it's a good idea. But anyway, back to KDB. He's leaving Manchester City, and you know, obviously on this channel we talk about everything, so we're going to try and keep it neutral. We're going to try and keep it objective. So KDB's always been a player that I liked. Personally, I don't put him in this category that other people want to put him, but that doesn't take away anything from the fact that he's a fantastic player, man. Do you know what I mean? And especially in his prime, I would say, especially in big games. KDB in his prime in big games, you could almost say practically he always delivered. You know, you could list the big six, apart from Man City, of course, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, United, who else is in there? Arsenal, Tottenham, United, Chelsea, Liverpool. Yeah, there we go. You could list all of these teams, yeah, and you can almost guarantee that you can think about a Kevin De Bruyne assist or Kevin De Bruyne goal. In big games, he's always turned up. And that's something that I'll give him, bro. I'll give him the credit. Do you know what I mean? He may not have been a midfield maestro that controls the tempo of a game and that pulls strings and, you know, that dictates. However, when you put him in that right half space and he whips in those crosses, bro, there was nobody better than him at that. At that specific thing, there was nobody better than him. There was a time where, bro, it was like clockwork. Him and Aguero or him and Sterling, bro, that cross that came in from the right-hand side, there was always someone at the back post, always. And as a neutral, obviously, I enjoyed watching KDB, man. Obviously, with the national team, there's question marks there. Could he have done better? Of course, he could have done better. But in terms of him playing for Man City, he's definitely a Man City legend. That is no doubt. And obviously, he won everything. Like you said, he won everything with them. Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, Carabao Cup, Club World Cup. He's won it all with Man City. And I think Man City fans will forever be grateful, to Kevin De Bruyne. Joined the club in 2015. And yeah, he was one of the cornerstones in Pep's system and the way Pep wanted to play. There was a point where you just could not imagine a Pep team without Kevin De Bruyne. And now, obviously, age caught up with him. His body is deteriorating a little bit. He's not as sharp. He's not as decisive as he used to be. And I think this is a good thing for him to decide to leave, because a lot of players will try and milk it. A lot of players will try and lie to themselves and think, I can still do it. I'm still that guy. But Kevin said, listen, this is the right time. And I applaud that. Do you know what I mean? You've got to know when to leave at the top of your game. And I think even though this season's kind of been of a one to forget. Let's just say it's been a season to forget for KDB. However, he recognises that and he goes, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for this high level anymore. Maybe I'm not made for this high level anymore. So I'd rather leave on a high, even though they're most likely not going to win a title unless they go and win the FA Cup. If he can leave, having won the FA Cup, I think that's a brilliant way to leave the club. So I think this will give him a bit more fire. I think this will give the team a bit more fire to try and end the season strongly and try and end the season with a trophy. And yeah, listen, Pep and KDB, they go together. Like, they go hand in hand. And like I said, when it came to that, those crosses that came from the half space on the right-hand side, he was absolutely fantastic. Something else that I really loved about KDB as a neutral was, and this is something that people don't really mention, he was two-footed. And as a midfielder, this is so important. Unless you're heavily relying on your strong foot, that's a different story. And more often than not, it's left-footed players that tend to be heavily reliant on their strong foot. However, KDB was such a good player with both feet. Like, there's one goal that pops into my head. Chelsea away, City were wearing their weird, orange and pink, and was it orange and pink or orange and purple? Anyway, they were wearing their orange and purple. Was it that? No, it wasn't that. Anyway, scrap that. The first goal that pops into my head is the one against Chelsea away, where he just drove through that midfield, bro. Nobody could catch him. And that was another thing. He wasn't necessarily the quickest one, but once he drove through that midfield, it was hard to catch him. You had to foul him. You just had to, drives through that Chelsea midfield and just buries it, left foot, absolutely rifles it. And there's not many players that you can name in the Premier League that were strong. In terms of taking shots, there's not many players in the Premier League that you can say, okay, if he hits that from 20 yards, it's in the back of the net. Left foot, right foot. And KDB was that guy. Do you know what I mean? And he's definitely up there with the people that we keep naming. The Gerrards, the Lampards, the Yaya Toures, the Silvers, the Scholeses, the Carricks. You name it, he's up there with them. 100%. 100%. So big respect to KDB, man. I really enjoyed watching him in the Premier League. Obviously, when it came to Man United, he'd done a lot of damage. But listen, as a neutral fan, I'm glad to say I've seen Kevin De Bruyne live. Do you know what I mean? And funny enough, we're playing the Manchester derby on Sunday and United are going to play against them. So I'll be seeing KDB for the last time. So as a neutral, I can only say I've enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? So listen, KDB will be leaving Manchester City after 18 trophies won in 10 years. Who can say that, man? Do you know what I mean? So definitely massive, massive respect to KDB. So yeah, that's my initial reaction, man. Yeah, man, he in terms of City fans, obviously they'll miss him. They'll definitely miss him. And it's hard to replace quality like that, If you want to focus on the downside of it, yes, sometimes it was a bit too easy to get him out of his game, because if you mark that half space and you prevent him from putting in those crosses from the half space on the right-hand side, he was sometimes a bit anonymous. Not really the type of player to take the ball and then dribble past 4 or 5 players and then smack it top bins. He was never that type of guy. But, you know, the deliveries and the crosses that he put in, like in terms of delivery, he has to be up there with one of the best in Premier League history. You know, when we talk about players that know how to deliver a ball, you're talking about quality like David Beckham. So, yeah, man, definitely big ups to KDB. And let me know what you think in the comment section below, people. You know, did you like watching KDB in the Premier League? Did you not like watching KDB in the Premier League? Because it may be the case. So you guys let me know. But yeah, listen, it's road to 15K. We're nearly there, nearly there. And remember, once we do hit 15K, I will be doing a Q&A and you guys can ask me any question, anything you want to know, you guys will be able to ask me. But let's get to 15K first before we get to the Q&A. So anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe, people. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.